A very good evening. You're watching Social Media. I'm Nabila Jamal. I'm going to bring you the roundup of the day's news. Let me start with all the developments that happened in Punjab today. It was quite interesting for political news enthusiasts, considering that you had the Congress, who had significant amount of influence in the state of Punjab, now looking at shaky grounds. Why I say that is because we see that factionalism within the Congress itself seems to be growing between the Navjot Singh Sidhu camp and those who oppose Navjot Singh Sidhu, including Captain Amrinder Singh. Remember, Captain Amrinder Singh was almost forced to resign as the Chief Minister of Punjab, and now a new face, Charanjit Singh Channi, has been appointed as a new Chief Minister. He's basically a Dalit face. He's in fact the first Dalit leader ever since independence to be made the Chief Minister of Punjab. So why I'm saying that the Congress is worried this time, or should be ideally worried even if they are not, is because you have the factionalism only growing, with Amrinder Singh categorically stating that if Navjot Singh Sidhu is at the helm of affairs, then, or if he is projected as the CM face, I will oppose him tooth and nail. Now, why this is important is because even though Channi has been appointed as the Chief Minister of Punjab, it appears that Navjot Singh Sidhu seems to be wielding extensive control over the party. In fact, what we understand is that Harish Rawat, who is the Congress in charge for Punjab, has said very clearly to the media that Channi is going to be taking oath as a Chief Minister. He is the new Dalit face. He is the Chief Minister. But Punjab will be led by Navjot Singh Sidhu to the 2022 polls. So what does it really mean? It means that Channi has been appointed as the CM, but the power will be vested on Navjot Singh Sidhu. So is Channi just a stopgap arrangement? That's the question that people are asking. Of course, the BJP has got a great opportunity to hit out at the Congress party, saying that this is awful, this is an insult to the Dalit community, and also this is undermining the Chief Minister's chair. By giving complete control to Navjot Singh Sidhu, despite having a new face as the Chief Minister, Channi taking over as a new Dalit face for Punjab. Despite that, you're announcing publicly that Navjot Singh Sidhu will be taking the party forward. Also, does that mean, questions being raised, whether Navjot Singh Sidhu will now be the Chief Minister of Punjab once the elections get over and if the Congress wins? That's another question that's being raised, of course, to the Congress, which they haven't answered. No answers being given. It's just that Channi has been decided as the new Chief Minister of Punjab, but has been they've announced categorically that Sidhu will be taking the party forward. But a lot of questions and of course even speculations that have now risen that soon after elections in Punjab, and if the Congress does come back to power with an overwhelming majority, then the Chief Minister's post will be handed over to Navjot Singh Sidhu. He will take it forward. So is Channi just a stopgap arrangement? That's the question that we're asking here, and that's of course something that the Congress will have to answer, considering that even though it has had quite some influence in the state of Punjab, people of Punjab of course are quite upset with the fact that their farm laws, which is the most contentious issue for them, is not being backed by any political party so strong, extensively. AAP, for the matter here in the equation, has been trying to gobble up all the support in the midst of the Congress infighting and the hostility that the BJP faces. AAP seems to be trying to gain ground during this period. Now, how important or what an important player AAP will be in the scheme of things in Punjab, that only time will tell, because Congress in Punjab is entrenched. They're in every nook and corner, but you never know. Just like after 70 years of rule, Congress could be fizzled out to almost just barely 3 states, which that too they're finding it hard to manage. It can also be so that in Punjab, after so many years, they could be facing anti-incumbency. Alright, so you're looking at 2 deputy chief ministers who have also taken oath along with Channi, because they're looking at the caste equations, and of course they want to ensure that all castes are pleased. Channi is a Dalit face, so this is the first time, like I said, after independence that a Dalit face has been made the chief minister. Apart from that, a Hindu Punjabi face has been made the deputy chief minister, who is Om Prakash Soni. Apart from that, Sukhjinder Randhawa has been made the deputy chief minister as well. 2 deputies. Sukhjinder Randhawa is a Sikh Jat. Now, Sikh Jat population and Dalit population in Punjab are almost equal. Like Dalit community is about 32% of the electorate, while you have the Sikh Jat around 36%. So it's or more or less the same number of or same percentage of the community that holds significance for the Congress, but yet it somehow, the Jat Sikhs have managed to somehow dominate all these years. So finally a backward community has managed to break the ceiling with the chief minister being appointed from the Dalit community. Now that said, we are looking at also Akali Dal, who's trying hard to vote Dalit voters. We are also we are seeing BJP, who's also promised if they come to power, they will also have a Dalit chief minister. Akali BSP also promises that they'll have a Dalit chief minister. So after this elevation, you have the BJP, the BSP hitting out at the Congress, saying that this is just a vote caste politics that the Congress is trying to do, and that won't really work on ground, and this is just a poll gimmick right ahead of just round the corner, which is 4 months away. The election is just 4 months away, and just at a time like that, they're coming up with these caste gimmicks to try and please voters, but voters are not fools. That's what Mayawati says. So Mayawati has of course slammed this move, saying that this is just the Congress tactics of religious communal caste politics, which usually never works, and this time it will fail, even in Punjab, even in Uttar Pradesh. That said, we're looking at within the Punjab Congress, there are several leaders who are hitting out at this move. You have Congress's former Punjab in charge, Gulchain Singh Charak. He has now criticized the Congress party's decision, saying that it was unfair to push Amrinder Singh right to the fag end of his term, or just 4 months away, 4 months ahead of assembly elections, to be asking him to leave is not right, because this will really cost the Congress party in Punjab. It will really hurt the Congress in this upcoming polls, and Amrinder should have been asked to continue at least till the end of the term. That's what he says. We also have Sunil Jakhar, who was ideally the first choice for the Chief Minister of Punjab. He's a Hindu Punjabi, so he has also been sidelined now, and Sunil Jakhar comes out and puts out some really sharp retorts on Twitter, saying that Congress High Command or Congress party itself is petty-minded, small-minded people. They do not rise above religious politics, and this is unfair. He quotes a religious leader to say that, a religious leader once said that never have a chief minister based on religion. So this isn't a more ideal time to quote him. So, Jakhar has been hitting out at the Congress, saying that this was unfair, that they first of all, tried to push Channi, and then over that, while Channi is appointed, they announced that Sidhu is going to be leading the party. So this is just, of course, really trivializing the chief minister's chair at this time. Now let me cut across to focus coming in from Bihar. We're looking at RJD, who is currently on the back foot after a Patna court has ordered an FIR against 6 people, including party heavyweights like Tejasvi Yadav and sister Misa Bharti. So basically, the top RJD leaders have they've been accused of accepting 5 crore rupees as kickbacks only to give out a seat, a Lok Sabha ticket, in the 2019 polls. So this case has been going on. Right now the court has ordered for the FIR as well against Tejasvi Yadav, his sister, and a few others. So the RJD has of course defended this, saying that this is just vendetta politics, and they are innocent. They've defended the party founder Lalu Prasad Yadav and his children, the RJD party itself. They said that the complaints are baseless and allegations are cheap publicity. That's what RJD says in retort. So basically the problem here, what really happened, the allegation here is a Congress leader called Sanjeev Kumar Singh. He complained that Tejasvi Yadav took 5 crore rupees only to give him a Lok Sabha seat. And when the seat was not given, he eventually said he promises to give him a Mahagathbandhan ticket in 2020 assembly polls, which also never came to him. So he says that 5 crores was taken, but he wasn't given a Lok Sabha ticket, neither an assembly ticket. So that's what's happening here. Let me cut across to Karnataka. We're looking at some war of words between Yediyurappa and DK Shiv Kumar. Basically, Yediyurappa claims, the former Chief Minister of Karnataka, says that DK Shiv Kumar from the Congress is trying hard to poach BJP MLAs. He says a couple of MLAs have been approached by DK Shiv Kumar. They've come and confided into Yediyurappa, and he said he managed to stop that defection. He says that will never happen. No BJP leader will go to Congress. In fact, it will be the reverse. Maybe Congress leaders might come to BJP in Karnataka, but he will not let that happen. Well, that said, DK Shiv Kumar is leading a massive protest currently in Karnataka, a cycle rally that he is carrying out in protest against the rising fuel prices. The protest rally was in fact carried out from Karnataka Congress office all the way to Vidhan Sauda and was led by DK Shiv Kumar, of course. So Congress in Karnataka is lashing out at the BJP government that they are basically, BJP is competing between rising fuel prices and incompetence. Well, let me cut across to Tamil Nadu. Tamil superstar Joseph Vijay, who's he's basically called as Ilya Talapati Vijay. So he's a very famous actor. He has filed a lawsuit against his own parents and 11 people collectively for using his name for their political aspirations. So basically this lawsuit that's filed in the court there in the city has stated that no one should be able to use Vijay's name for any kind of public gatherings or any kind of politics in the future. This issue in fact arose when Vijay's father S.A. Chandrasekhar said that Vijay must enter politics. When Vijay denied, his father eventually went on to establish a political party, and he named, his father announced one of Vijay's relatives, Padmanabhan, as the party president, his mother Shobha as the treasurer and the general secretary of the party. So the party is already formed and action, activity is already begun, but Vijay himself is not in compliance with this. He does not want this political party to come into fruition, and therefore he's filed a court case where he also mentions his parents there that they should not be able to use my name for any political ambition. So that's that. The matter is likely to be heard on the 27th of September. Now, moving on to Jammu and Kashmir, we have Mehbooba Mufti, who's accused the BJP of trying to rake in votes in the name of Taliban in Afghanistan and Pakistan. Mehbooba Mufti says that 7 years of rule of the BJP has ruined the country and brought miseries to India and the people of Jammu and Kashmir, and that they're constantly taking votes in the name of Pakistan, now Afghanistan, Taliban. So she's criticized Yogi Adityanath government as well. While she spoke to her people there, she spoke about how the BJP's ill governance has really cost the country, including Yogi's governance in Uttar Pradesh, where bodies were forced to be dumped in the river Ganga due to lack of resources to cremate them. That apart, Mehbooba Mufti has drawn comparison to the Taliban, of BJP with the Taliban, and warned the centre. Earlier referring to the Taliban takeover, Mufti has asked the central government not to test people of Jammu and Kashmir. Now, finally, this is shocking news that's come to light here. In Russia's Perm city, we're looking at one student who's entered the Perm University and shot down. He's a student himself. He carries a gun inside the university and shoots down his fellow students. 8 of them have been killed. About 24 of them, as per the reports from Moscow Times, have been injured. So this is shocking. Now, the prima facie reports suggest that he does not belong to any extremist organization or a terrorist organization. At least for now, that's the information that they have, and that his motive, or what was the reason for him to shoot down his fellow classmates or students in college, that is yet to be established. But this man, the student, he himself is a student, he's been detained now, he's in custody. He shot down 8 students, just randomly fired, shoots down 8 students, and many of them visuals, very shocking visuals, seen students jumping off the windows to the floor from a height just so that they can escape from this terror attack. Now, what was the reason? Again, not known. That's it for now. Heavy rains in West Bengal, heavy rains. So we are looking at almost river-like roads that we see all along West Bengal, many parts of Kolkata especially. This will go on for next 2 days is what we understand. Apart from that, in Karnataka as well, Bengaluru received heavy rains, and a 47-year-old man died as he crashed straight into an open ditch. Civic body, BBMP, did not close that ditch. It was left open. There were just barricades which was very easily missed. No signage, nothing, and this man, 47-year-old man riding a bike, he drives straight into this open ditch, falls into that ditch and dies. Very unfortunate state of affairs, but nonetheless, we're looking at some kind of efforts put in by the BBMP now post-mortem after this death for them to patch up that work there. On this note, thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. Stay safe.